So what am I doing now? I'm doing a review.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting all this shit. Hello and welcome to the Cloud Therapist channel. I'm Richard Simon. This is going to be a review of the Big Data show in London 2024. I have with me again Paul, who's back for more punishment.
A subject that isn't in my main area of interest.
He's really not interested in data whatsoever, nothing whatsoever, but he is here at the show. I dragged him along. So we're going to do a quick review and we're going to have a chat about what's going on at the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I said previously when we were chatting that, you know, data has become more and more important for infrastructure. It has such an impact on infrastructure. I felt I needed to be here to understand what the hell was going on in this data world. I'm not sure I do understand what's going on in this data world, but there you go.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that as well. There's a couple of terms there that threw me definitely. Okay, so we'll do an intro to Paul in a minute, but it was just kind of covering the Big Data London show. So it's held at Olympia in Kensington. It took me ages to actually get here, so it's really a miracle that I've actually managed to do any recordings for today. But yeah, so let's do a quick intro to Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul Bevan. I am Director of Research for the IT Infrastructure Practice at Bloor, which is an IT analyst firm. I've been doing that for 9 or 10 years now, but I've been in the industry a darn sight longer than that. So I think I'll leave it at that.
I think that's a good place to leave it, definitely. Okay, so Paul, what's kind of been just your overall thoughts, about the show? I know you said it was quite noisy, and people maybe can hear it in the background, but apart from being noisy, what else have you kind of picked up on?
I mean, there's a real buzz around the show. I think that's quite interesting. You know, compared to some of the infrastructure shows I've been to in the last few years, there's much more of a buzz. There's a younger audience by and large than I would have expected to see at some of the other shows I've been to, which has been interesting. But also it's huge plethora of quite small organizations that seem to be growing up. You know, you go to many shows and you get, you know, all the big names there. Here, there's one or two, and we'll come back to those later on. But I'm fascinated by the number of different companies, many doing very similar sorts of stuff. But for any users out there, then I think it's quite a confusing world to look at them.
And this is kind of really the place to come and kind of ask the vendors and talk to maybe some potential partners and so on. And everything from data migration to how you manage your data, how you kind of do observability on your data, which we will get to in a minute, and also security and various other things as well.
Yeah, I think if you're going to come
and databases,
but I think you need to come with some very specific questions you need to ask. I mean, if you come like I've done today and sort of wander around looking at all the stands, talking to a few of the vendors, you can get overwhelmed. And obviously there's an awful lot of marketing speak, I suppose, and I am a marketeer at heart, but some of it,
So you can spot it from a mile away.
Well, I always say, as an analyst, I always tell any vendor I'm talking to that I am the poacher turned gamekeeper, and that I used to be in marketing, now I'm an analyst. So don't try and bullshit me.
Exactly.
And there's, and the danger is that there's an awful lot of marketing speak going on down on that floor.
Right, yeah. So they actually, the event organizers describe it as a 2-day combined conference and exhibition focusing on how to build dynamic, data-driven businesses. So that's the idea. So there are apparently 14 theaters covering every aspect of the data industry, 300 plus speakers, that's quite impressive, 200 plus exhibitors, I think we've probably done 199 of them, you and I. So that includes the likes of Databricks, Snowflake, Starburst, Cloudera, Microsoft, and lots of other ones as well. And brand new for this year, apparently, is the Discovery Zone as well. So that's a kind of a new area that's hosting the hottest startups. So I'm going to go and check that out a little bit more. We did a little bit of that this morning, but we need to kind of maybe go and ask a few more people, see, kind of figure out some more of the innovation that's actually happening there.
Yeah, I think that's actually quite difficult when you get into a show like this, is that quite a lot of the vendors you're going to go talk to are effectively consultancies or they're integrators of one kind or another. So if you're interested in, what's the underpinning technologies they're using, how are they using it, you're going to have to, that's why I say, think about the questions you need to ask very specifically. Otherwise you will get an awful lot of, you thinking, I'll give you the different analogy that when we do data center shows, is trying to work out which of the people saying they've got a data center actually physically have a data center rather than just renting some space in a data center. So, and I get the same sort of feeling here. There's an awful lot of people talking almost as if they've got their own technology, and the reality is that they're using other data technologies out there, and you've got to get to the bottom of what they're actually using and how they're using it.
Right, and some of the keynotes apparently focused on the keynote panel that they had. One of them was actually around data in sport. So that was interesting. So lots of Olympians around on that one apparently. So that was quite interesting. I'm sure there's lots of kind of data that's generated around that. Also, you had presentations from Confluent, Meta, Metropolitan Police Service apparently was there. Snowflake we mentioned, DataStax was there, and loads of others as well.
Yeah, I mean, quite a lot of retailers were here. Marks and Spencer's, and I think Sainsbury's.
That's an interesting angle, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I mean, if you look at the sort of what...
Are they selling clothes or food?
No, it's how do they use their data to get a better customer relationship. And if you think most people are going online rather than buying in shops these days, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. They need to get smarter with their data profiling. They need to get smarter with their customer service, in an online world. So I was not surprised. I was pleasantly surprised to see that there were companies like Marks and Spencer's and Sainsbury's, taking part in terms of getting up on the stage and saying what they're doing. So, I think that's good. I mean, and you said the Met Police, but generally the public sector has been notable by its absence, I think, which is a shame, because they're, when we see what's going on in data in the marketplace, and particularly the role of AI in data, is you're always seeing the public sector as being laggards, lagging in terms of their capability, but also their focus, I think.
Yeah, indeed. So some of the themes that we picked up on, what were kind of some of the standout themes for you?
Well, I think we laugh about observability, and that appears everywhere. But I suppose you've got to start with AI. I mean, it's infused everywhere, and people talk about AI-infused technology and things, but virtually every corner you turn, most of the stands you go talk to, they will be talking AI. The question is, are they talking generative AI, or is it something else? And I think one of the challenges again for the end user is working out what they actually mean by the AI-based platform or AI doing this. So you can't turn anywhere without seeing AI. So that's one. And the other was data observability, which you and I had a sort of go at, didn't we? Trying to
yes, we did, yeah.
Exactly what they meant.
What on earth is data observability?
And it's as simple as it sounds, guys. They just observe the data. That's a little unfair, but fundamentally, if you're looking to improve the quality of your data, if you're looking to categorize your data, these guys will just tell you, well, that bit's not very good and this bit's not very good, that bit of data needs work on, rather than there being any sort of automated or proactive and we fix it type approach. It's almost like, we'll tell you where the problems are, you go away and sort it out. And so it was a little disappointing. You've got a lot of data observability. I'm sure there are some good ones out there, but 2 or 3 of the ones we spoke to, and you asked the specific questions because you've got the specific challenges in the job you do. And what it came down to was, they collect all, they're sort of monitoring the data and telling you where it's broken and why it's bad, and off you go.
Yeah, and I would have maybe, like I said earlier, I'd have preferred maybe a kind of a data quality title to it or something like that. That would have been maybe more appropriate.
There's been quite a lot of data quality talks within the various theatres, and I think quality's been high on the agenda, but without really getting to grips with what that means. How does governance impact on driving quality? When you say quality, what are you talking about? How do you categorize the data? There was a whole load of stuff that said, yeah, we need to focus on data quality, without an awful lot of, and this is how you do it. So I think, again, everybody knows they've got to get better quality data. And in fact, one shout out to one of the vendors we saw down there for the best strap line, which was, if excuse the French, because they wrote it on the thing, shit in, disaster out.
Something like that, yeah.
Like that. It's a variation on the old garbage in, garbage out. So a lot of, data quality is how do we stop that happening? So I was sort of, they were very in your face, but actually they were just observability, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it was probably a good marketing tagline, but essentially it was all around the data observability.
As a marketeer, I love the tagline because it was so blunt. I skirt around it and still go garbage in, garbage out, but this was shit in, disaster out.
So basically, what we're seeing is data observability seems to be quite similar to the monitoring observability. It is just really focused on data and everything really, sort of all the ecosystem around that, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was quite a lot. We just didn't have time to get around everything, but I think there's an awful lot around governance. Being, a lot of the stands were talking governance. It'd be interesting to talk to them and see how they, is it just a classic consultancy? Take your money, tell you that it's wrong, and then walk away. Or are they moving you through the stages from identifying the challenges, getting the classifications right, getting the deduplication, all those things working. How do you get that stream working? And I suspect there's an awful lot of people who are doing the first bit, which was, we'll tell you what you should be doing from a governance perspective, and then we might have a look and see you're not very good at it. Now what?
Yeah. So again, the AI and sort of how that really fits into the whole process, has been a theme as well. So that's one of the topics that I picked up on. I also see a little bit, not as much as I would like to see, but a little bit around data mesh. So again, people talking about that. Cloud data management or data management in general. Again, almost next to nothing on that. But again, for me, I think that's a really essential space to focus on.
I think, I think we saw this at Cloud Expo earlier in the year, is that there's suddenly been a realization that actually without getting our data in the right shape, the right format, and ready to go, and AI ready, as they call it down on the floor down there, then the whole AI movement is going to be hobbled from day one. And so there's an awful lot of focus on that sort of, that side of it, rather than the management of it afterwards. I know you are particularly interested.
Yeah.
What do I do with the management of it afterwards? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think data. Sort of how do you kind of use AI in data, and there's obviously different forms for that. There's different vectors, if you like, for that, not to be confused with vector databases. But the point I think being there is that the vendors are trying to bring it in, but I think it's still early days in terms of really, is this going to work? Is this kind of the way to go? Is this the direction to go? Are we seeing a lot of focus around that direction, for example? I think everybody's, for this year certainly, is just kind of trying out AI and generative AI and seeing where it's going to stick.
Yeah, I think from a Gen AI point of view, it's very much, you're in the piloting stage, the try it and test it and see what happens approach. The challenge, of course, is that AI is not just Gen AI. There is a lot of AI kicking around in much more, much simpler terms, algorithmic terms than we've been around a lot. And it's again just making and saying to people there are things you can do in terms of AI ops, in terms of data ops, where you can use some fairly simple AI approaches to get the sort of benefits in terms of making space for you to spend time on the Gen AI. I mean, I didn't really see enough of people saying, how do I make space to do the work I need to do on Gen AI? I know there's a sort of theatre that's looking at sort of people, process, culture and diversity and all those sort of issues, because again, that's still a big concern for people. So there is some of that, but I mean, you need more than 2 days to get around this show, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Only had a day.
And we've only had a day, yes, because we've been busy with other stuff. But there's also been some different theatres as well, kind of more thematic theatres. So we've had a data ops and data observability theatre. We saw the what was it? Data mesh and data fabric. Correct. Yeah, that was another one as well. So there's a lot of that kind of, and I think there's one called fast data or something like that as well, which is again quite interesting, and real time as well. So real time kind of data, generation, capture, monitoring, management, and so on.
Good sessions for what I would call a sort of more senior management type approach to understanding some of the issues. What should CIOs, what should CDOs be thinking about, and CISOs be thinking around. So I think there's and most of those, as you pass by the various theatres, they're full. That's the thing that impressed me probably more than anything else. Having been to shows where, certainly by this time on the second day, they're pretty empty. This one's still going strong. Yeah,
it still is, and I can see, actually looking at the floor below, so you can't see this at the moment, but we'll do a shot for you later. But I can see that's actually still buzzing down there quite a lot at the moment. Most of the stands are relatively full, lots of people still talking, and I think like I said earlier, bringing everything under one roof when it's around data and databases and sort of generative AI around data, and the whole monitoring and management, I think is probably a good thing. So as you said, you get kind of different scales in terms of who's doing what and things like that.
If you're data oriented and you're thinking I can go to one event during the year, I would not go and do data at Cloud Expo, or what's it called, the Technology Show London.
Oh yeah, Tech Show in London.
Tech Show London, which used to be Cloud Expo, and
it still is. Yeah, I think they use all the titles, but
all the titles, and data has always seemed to be the poor relation.
It's not very well represented there.
Well represented and probably not well attended. So, don't go there if you're a data. Come here. I think this was. The buzz, loads of stuff to go look at. I say, you just like anything, watch out for the market.
The marketing hype. Yes, indeed. Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think, like I said, it's quite well rounded. And if you're actually interested in learning, some of the latest buzzwords and whatever, it doesn't really matter whether you want to use them or not, but the important thing is to kind of learn about that and understand what that means and actually see whether that makes sense for your business, as well as from a technology point of view, whether it fits in with your current design and architecture as well.
Yeah, just come with your use case, if that's what it is. Come with what you're trying to do, and I think you'll get some very interesting answers here.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's probably the best approach. That's the best way to approach it. Okay, so thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate your time. It's been a great review, indeed. All the description stuff that you need will be listed in the video's description, all the details, the links, and so on. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you have any other comments that you want to talk about in regards to data, Gen AI around data, or data migration, anything like that, please drop a comment in the video, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.